Hola, amigos, and welcome to the last show on Televida. To start off this season of the last show, we have one of my favorite comedians in Kansas City. He's kind of an enigma. He's kind of Kansas City's own Stephen Wright, Mitch Hedberg, Dennis Miller type. I know he doesn't like that, but that's the way I feel about him. He's always been such a character, and we've got him on the last show. Who have we got? Teague Hayes. What do you want to know about him? Watch this clip.
So one of the days in between, she sent me a message. I remember because I was at home naring my back. You ever nair your own back, sir? It's a humbling experience. I got the bathroom mirror, I got the handheld, I got a wooden spoon from the kitchen. I'm like, yeah, I'm burning the crack of my ass, you know? I got the big reveal in 2 days. I can't show up with a burnt butt crack. I'm gonna have to box her out like Kawhi Leonard. Meanwhile, what are you going back there for anyway, lady? You know what I mean? This is the first night. I'm not saying we can't work up to it. But tonight we're sticking to the fundamentals.
Teague Hayes, thank you for being on the show, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me.
Now, have you nared your back now, or are you clean? And
It's been a minute.
Well, you've kind of always been around the comedy scene.
Need to be naring my back.
Yeah, you've kind of always been around the comedy scene because I've always seen you, and I was trying to, before we got you on the show, trying to think about when I first met you, and it was Stanford's, right?
That I don't know.
Okay. Which Stanford's was it? There was a lot of different inclinations of Stanford and stuff.
Yeah, it was the Westport Stanford's above Kelly's.
Wow.
Yeah.
That you do go back.
It's true.
You do go back. You do go back. Well, when did you know comedy was going to be it for you? When you thought it's really going to be something you like?
Any day now. I enjoy it. The first time I ever did it was October of 1998 at Stanford's, and then I kind of was just here and there with it until the summer of 2001.
Who were the people when you started at Stanford's? Who were those comics that were with you?
I don't remember. I was like because like I said, I started in 98.
Uh-huh.
So by 2001, I mean, I don't know if Baldwin was around yet.
Mike Baldwin, James Johan?
James Johan was already established.
Chris Porter?
Those guys were like a group ahead of me.
Uh-huh.
And were already kind of out on the road.
We kind of do this in comedy,
Like
that there's your
Justin
class,
Leon.
your class.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
Justin Lee.
Well, I had already had it. I'm still finishing.
You're like Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School, right? You're always perpetually.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those things we talked about a little bit where it's like after it's been so long, you kind of like maybe don't like to say.
I don't like to say it.
Like asking
44 years,
like
I said it.
Asking a woman her age. That's an outdated
Exactly.
concept. But like I play the guitar, and sometimes people will say, "How long have you been playing the guitar?" Because they're kind of like, "Wow, you're pretty good." And then when I tell them, they're like, "Oh, you should be better." Oh. So it's kind of like I did a show one time it was like at an apartment rec center.
Uh-huh.
And he was bringing me up, and he was like, "Oh, and here's Teague. Teague's a Kansas City staple, and he's been doing. How long have you been doing it, Teague?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no. Because it's one of those things that starts off like, "Oh, he's probably pretty good," and then if it's too high of a number, they're like, "Well, what the hell's he doing at the pool
I don't know
hall
what's
at
the
apartment?"
appropriate number of years to be doing the certain venue
It's my own
you're at.
insecurity talking.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, like if I'm doing a lousy venue, I could say 6 months, right? But if you're doing a nice venue,
Oh, sure. That's
I don't
always
like to
fun
say when
you
I've been
just
doing it
started.
so long because I think, it ages you too. So I think, even in my promo, I go over 20 years because I figure that's solid, right?
Sure.
However many more, 20 years. We're both 20-year veterans in the game of comedy.
Yes.
Now, one thing I didn't know about it, are you from Kansas City originally?
No.
Where are you from?
Well, do you have a clip of that part of my act?
No, I don't.
When I was a kid, I moved around a lot.
Okay.
My parents moved. They took me with them. It's too bad because that is true, but it's like when people ask you something,
It's
it's
a
like,
cliche.
"Oh, I actually wrote this bit." But so it's like, where are you from? Is kind of what are the rules here with what we can talk about?
You can talk about anything.
Okay, so like some people, it's like, where were you born?
Yes.
Where'd you
How about
graduate
that?
high school?
Let's do high school. I don't need to go back there.
Dallas, Texas. Well, my metric that I developed, because I moved around a lot when I was a kid, like I said, but
You
my
seem
parents
like
did.
the least Texas white guy I have
was
ever
only-
met in life.
Interesting. Do I seem like a Texas black guy?
No.
My metric used to be, now I say wherever you find yourself. That's where you're from. You know, but I had one for a long time.
Fair.
Is where did you first masturbate, but also knew what you were doing?
Good
Because
question.
those are two very different places for me, both time and space. You're looking at about 18 months and 1,200 miles difference, you know. It wasn't until they showed us that video in 6th grade, I was like, is that what I've been doing?
And here's where I am. I recognize it all.
Right.
I recognize it all.
It's a paradigm shift moment.
Have you traveled? I mean, because I noticed when I went on your thing, you said, because I did a deep dive in you, Teague, even though I've known you.
Gross.
I did a deep dive.
Yes,
Deep
all right.
dive. And when they want to book you, you have a 180-mile radius.
Yeah.
So what's that about? You
Well, I
don't
mean,
want to go
it's
200 miles? Is that a
It's
problem?
whatever they're willing to pony up. I mean, it comes with the price tag.
Because as far as I can see, you go to Des Moines, you go to Omaha, you go to Springfield,
Oh, well, that's
you go to
just,
Salina.
Oh, no, that's on a particular site.
Okay.
So, like, at that level, I mean, yeah, if it's a more legitimate circumstance rather than just some guy, like, hey, I'm having a party, cookout, will you come travel? Like, here's the money. It's like, that world of stand-up is chaos.
Well, part of the world of
Like,
stand-up.
I'll go far away if
yeah.
it's
If
like,
the money's
I can
right,
trust
everybody
it.
go anywhere.
And
yeah.
security.
Yeah. Well, or if they fly you, if they drive. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. It's you know, I always think of comedy, it's like, you know, you pay me for the travel, I perform for free, you know.
Okay, sure, yeah.
If it's a nice gig. Sometimes, you know, I mean, if it's just, you know, slogging it for 60 minutes and they demand the time thinking time is better than quality.
Right, yeah.
You know, I hate those types of gigs. But, you know, if it's a fun gig, you know, I don't mind. It's just the traveling to get there, you know.
Sure.
But one thing I have to know is that sometimes people bitch about the traveling. It's like that audience had nothing to do with how far you traveled to get there.
And you chose to do it.
And you chose to do it, so you
Right.
should just take that off the plate.
I always look
there.
at it as any sort of service or craft, even like a doctor or something. You're not paying them for that hour. You're paying them for all the years they've put into the thing.
That's true. Be kind of appropriate question to go back to a doctor. How long have you been doctoring? You really should be. You really should be better at this.
You only have the one doctorate?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, part of my act, I didn't know in my deep dive of you that you are a musician.
I play music.
All right. Well, we're going to stick with that. Let's introduce you to Teague's musical abilities. Well, we were back in the last show.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Teague Hayes. This is my partner. Her name is Pink Thunder. I call her Pink Thunder because that's what she is. Pink Thunder. Now, I know you can't really see in this light, but trust me, she's pink in all the right places. And I know some of you may be thinking, hey, Pink Thunder? That's what I named my vagina. Well, that may be. But let me tell you this. Unless you nicknamed your vagina Pink Thunder before 2002, I beat you to it. How about that? Oh, Pinky, I remember when I first saw you hanging in that guitar shop window. Like it was yesterday. I remember the day, but of course, not the exact date. Typical man. I don't know if you guys believe in love at first sight. I don't know much about that, but I do know this. I know that I remember not just seeing Pink Thunder for the first time, but how it made me feel. I remember walking past the shop and thinking to myself, hey, what's my guitar doing in that window? That's my guitar. So I went inside and I investigated, and turns out she was $100. I gotta tell you, back in 2002, $100 still wasn't that much money. But I was such a broke bum, I had to get financing. But I'm happy to report, a short 18 years later, hey, only 2 more payments, she's all mine. That joke's older than my dead dad. Love on the rocks, ain't no big surprise. Just pour me a drink and I'll tell you some lies. Got nothing to lose, so you just sing the blues. But when? All the damn time. I gave you my heart. I gave you my soul. And you left me standing here with nothing to hold except my ding dong. Yesterday's gone. Now all I want is a smile.
So, Love on the Rocks, you a big Neil Diamond fan?
I love Neil Diamond.
Okay,
Love is strong.
Do you remember the movie The Jazz Singer he did?
I do, but I've never seen it.
A good friend of mine, comedian Franklin Ajayi, was in that, and there was this big he was another who kind of reminds me.
No,
of
he
a
was
little
big
bit.
time.
Yeah, you remember Franklin Ajayi? Yeah.
I mean, of him, I didn't
Yeah.
know him personally, but I remember like old '80s, like growing up watching like late night stand-up comedy, like Night at the Improv or Comic Strip Live, things like that.
Hey, I used to do a couple of those shows.
Hey.
Yeah. So what I want to ask you about that is that story true about Pink Thunder, and you just found the guitar and everything like that?
It's pretty true. I didn't have to. I didn't have to make payments for 24 years on her, but no, she was $100, and it was just complete kismet or whatever you want to call it, serendipity. I don't know, but like, I wasn't even looking for a guitar at the time.
Now, actually, you can find those clips on your YouTube channel, right? All of them. How many
That's
Pink
correct.
Thunder clips did you do? At least
I don't
at least
know.
a dozen, I think.
I maybe like related because I would like play a song and I would do videos where I would,
Obscure songs, I might add, or songs not in the common. But I mean, you have an obscure
there's
taste.
so many. Well, I mean, there's so many songs. It's I mean, I think they're all hits.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, or standards even. I mean, Nature Boy. Did I do The Way We Were? I don't think I ever got around to The Way We Were.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Oh, well, something to look forward to.
I mean, that's a very coming up soon. Have you actually brought Pink Thunder out on your comedy stage?
Years ago, I did for a while. So I kind of went on hiatus from 2010 to 2015. Did you miss me? And
Why?
just personal reasons.
Okay.
And then so when I came back, I started reaching out and to some people who used to book me, and I never did guitar comedy. I always could play the guitar and could do comedy, but I never combined them. Not out of any kind of snobbery. Some people look, not that. I just chose not. I just didn't do what I wanted to do. One of the reasons I like stand-up comedy is because you don't have to lug gear around. You know, you don't have to help the drummer load it. You know, anyway, all that.
You know,
And so-
there's a term in our comedy vernacular, guitar comic, right? When they describe, oh, he's a guitar comic, and then from that two-word description, you can just
A lot of people extrapolate
extrapolate a lot of stuff.
takes. But no, so this guy hit me up. He says, "Hey, do you still do guitar comedy?" I'd never done it.
How do you know? He
He went on my Facebook and saw pictures of me playing the guitar, and I think he just thought
So he requested it.
somebody else did, and he thought of me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Do you still do guitar comedy?" So I said, "Absolutely." And so I figured it was 2 months away. I could whip up basically all I need is like 20-ish minutes of viable guitar stuff and just do regular stand-up the rest of the way. And so for about a year and a half, I had a lot of these like, you know, Knights of Columbus or like, you know, the Elks Lodge shows where it's just.
Is it a crutch?
It was a little schlocky. It was pretty. It was very kind of pandering and whatnot. But it was fun. But I got tired of lugging all the stuff.
Where do you rank guitar comedy and magic comedy in your list of?
I celebrate all the meats in the stew. As long as it's working. That's my take. I mean, that could be said of someone who thinks they're like, you know, erudite or sophisticated, but like, are they any good? Like, do they stand out? Like, I've seen plenty of guitar comics that were like genuinely entertaining for me.
Well, it's like,
Highbrow, lowbrow, I like it all.
what's more important as a comedian to make the comics in the back of the room laugh or make the audience laugh?
Am I
'Cause
getting paid?
You're not getting paid.
It's a push. If it's a legit laugh from the comics, a lot of times the reason they're laughing is because you're not doing well.
Yes, it's the punchline, beat.
Well,
comics laugh.
unfortunately, I'm not very good at the social aspect of life, really. And so if I can get the comics in the back of the room to laugh, because I know a lot of them are trying specifically to not laugh at me, then that's
Okay.
that's a good.
So that's a
and they're not
validation.
laughing at a bomb. Like, that's no later, that's my wife. Crickets. Then the back of the room goes off. That's them laughing at the bomb. But if I make a joke and I can see it on their face, like, ooh, I don't want to agree. I don't like that. I like that.
So is the fact as a comedian that you make the comics in the back of the room laugh enough to keep the joke in your act?
No, that wouldn't. I mean, it's enough to make me realize it's funny, but if I'm trying to make a crowd laugh, being funny sort of drops in the priority.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, exactly. So if you're getting paid, then your preference isn't the comics in the back of the room, it's the audience.
It's primarily the person who's giving me the check, as long as they think it's good. Because they can be like,
This
I
is
don't know what's
true.
wrong with these people. I thought you were great. We're
This
having you back
is
next
true.
spring. Forget these guys.
I've been to a lot of clubs where the owner liked me, and it's just like, well, I bombed. It's like, oh, I love this
Right,
bit, or
yeah.
I love that bit. Or sometimes they request you to do a certain bit. I was doing a gig, and the guy hired me. He says, you're going to do this bit? And I had long since forgotten.
Oh, sure.
And it's like, oh, my gosh.
I can do
You
that.
know, yeah, I could do it, yeah. And then the bit was like so long ago. I mean, like I'm 60, so the bit was like 30 years ago. It's like, oh my God, can I even do that? My kids were 4 years old.
Right.
It's out of sequence, but I still did the bit, you know, and you got to do it. You got to answer to the people that you work for. Have you
Yeah.
worked with any big name acts that you like?
That I like.
No, the big name, the moniker of a lot of comedians, you either toured with a musical act or you've opened up for some big name comedians.
I mean, no, like, nobody you'd be like, wow. Sorry, I know, what a letdown. But there's
Nobody.
no one comes to mind. So, I mean, that
Dave Coulier, Bob Gothwaite.
I've worked
Jimmy
with
Walker.
both of those people.
And they didn't rise to the level of anybody special. And
I hope they're not watching. No, I just mean, well, okay, so if I told a 25-year-old, hey, I opened for Bobcat Goldthwait, they might not be that. If I said Matt Rife, they'd be like, what, really?
You know, you're right. You make an excellent point because they don't know who, you know.
Well, right, but I mean, so when I think of like a big name, it'd be someone that, you know, both of like a 55, a 25, a 75-year-old, they would all be like, wow, really?
Yeah.
Like Jerry Seinfeld, you know.
Oddly, the late great Bob Saget because his
Sure.
shows lived on
Oh,
forever.
yeah.
You know. Jimmy Walker, not so
Newman.
much. Apparently, Good Times didn't make it to the syndication rerun that everybody loves so much.
50 years is a long time.
How often do you perform nowadays?
Not very often. It's
Different, you know. I
it's
mean,
pretty slapdash.
you don't want to travel as much, you know.
There is that, but I mean, it's yeah. I've got a thing coming up in a couple weeks. It's like it's not a corporate, but it's like a social order or whatever.
Well, you've been unique because you
But it's
actually
gonna be my
did-
first time doing 30 minutes in like
Yeah.
6 months.
But you did Christmas shows, which I always
I
thought
did.
was kind of special. What was that about?
It was about an hour.
No, but it
No,
was just like holiday songs, or
kind of
was it
similar to the
on
clips
theme?
of me and Pink Thunder, where like it was very like the songs oriented. I would do music for those.
Okay.
And play the song, talk about the song, the development of it, and like how maybe it's not so much really about the celebration and the glory of God, but more about, you know, getting down to business.
There you go. You know, the fact that I've serendipitously run into you at two of the most odd places. I'll bring up the first place. We ran into each other at the DMV.
Yes.
Odd, right? Odd, not unusual.
Well, we living at the time at
The
least
same
close proximity.
Not unusual. The most unique time I ran into Mr. Teague Hayes, I'm going to see a movie with my kids out at the Liberty Theater, and we run out to the concession stand, as you tend to do, and I see Teague, and I go, hey, Teague, what's going on? And he says, not much. And you're buying your food, like, hey, what movie are you going to see? And it's like, I'm just getting the concessions and leaving. That is the weirdest thing I've
I
ever
disagree.
heard of.
I other people have brought that up because it's expensive, but there's something specific about movie theater popcorn that, you know, I can't get just on my own or out of a box.
So that's why you crave movie theater popcorn.
I do. Like I said, it's, you know, when you're in the movie theater, it doesn't seem so crazy. I mean, it is crazy, but when you're just getting it to go, you're like, did I just spend $14 on the lot?
That's
I
part
can't
of
get
it.
the refill either because I'm leaving and I can't.
Well, because you're a guest on our show, I wanted to bring you some Movie theater popcorn.
Now that's,
Now-
is this an official sponsor? I see them on there.
Oh my God, that's a good guess. AMC Theater, that's right. They are official
All
sponsor.
right, friend of the show, popcorn.
I've never seen, but not the hot dogs, right? Not the hot dogs, just the popcorn and the Coke.
I like a movie hot dog.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's not as regular. Like every few months, I'll pop in and get a popcorn, but maybe once a year with
You see, in my other business, when I do comedy, I do airport concessions, and I've never had anybody want to just show up at the airport to buy a $14 pretzel, you know?
Right.
Just check in. And,
Well, that's a bigger process. The parking situation alone is more of a commitment.
well, you know what? I agree with you because I go to the drive-in movies a lot. It's something that I used to do when I was a kid, and it's kind of a throwback. There's 2 drive-in movie theaters in Kansas City Boulevard and the Twin. And when I take my family, they go, hey, because it's your car. It's like, hey, let's go to Culver's and load up, or let's go to McDonald's. And it's like, no. If we're going to the drive-in, we buy the crappy drive-in movie
Oh,
theater
yeah.
because that's part of the thing, the corn dog.
Enjoy it while you can. With the foodie revolution knows no bounds, and you're hard pressed to go to a movie theater nowadays and get, like, I just want the old Beavis and Butthead nachos.
No.
I don't want the fancy, like just give me a slice of pizza, like a hot dog. Like, we have a grass-fed bison Frankfurt with a radish and mustard kimchi. And it's like, what?
Exactly. Or you go to the pizza and they have a flatbread. They don't even call it pizza anymore. They go,
Yeah.
it's a
I get it.
flatbread.
I like the option if I want to go to the place, and they have like the server come out sometimes.
Yeah.
But I also want the option of going to the old sticky floor, kind of
I love
S-hole
it.
theater.
Yeah, I love it where the movie costs more than the concessions. Sometimes it's neck and neck, but
Right.
Anyway, well, you've been great to have. I'm going to end our show with a clip that you've, I've heard of bringing. Well, you're bringing the word tallywhacker back, and I heard Paul Harvey say it, and I'm glad you are.
You heard Paul Harvey say- That was a few years back. It didn't work
stick?
out. It didn't work out.
It didn't stick.
But who knows? Maybe this will break it.
Maybe this will break it. Well, anyway, Teague Hayes, it's been an honor. We're going to end with the Teague Hayes bit. Teague Hayes, thank you for being on the last show.
Thanks for having me.
Adios.
So I told her, I was like, all right, lady, I will tell you. I will tell you how big my tallywhacker is. Yeah, I'm bringing tallywhacker back. It's not going so good so far, but I'm bringing tallywhacker back. Don't! That's what a lot of people say. So I was like, okay, lady, I'll tell you how big it is. Because, I appreciated the forthrightness. And really, why waste both of our time? People got standards, I get it. You gotta be this tall to ride the ride. Fair enough. So I told her, I was like, but I'm not gonna tell you the length. Or the girth. That's too easy. I'm gonna make her work for it. I said, hey, I'm gonna tell you the total volume. And then you're gonna have to reverse engineer that shit like a goddamn captured Soviet sub during the Cold War. We're going all the way back to high school geometry, mama. Do you want to ride the ride? Grab a protractor, bitch. That's the right.